This is Carrie Cooper for Guitar Centre's Focus on Rock. So today we look at the story of founding member of Pink Floyd, Syd Barrett, and how one of the most spectacularly gifted songwriters and visionaries England ever produced unravelled. The psychedelic 60s and the rock and roll scene at large were a testing ground for many an experimental young adult. The introduction of marijuana, LSD and other recreational drugs freely filtered through the world of music and its musicians, and many a classic rock number reflects heavily on those far-out experiences. One often wonders why certain people came through the scene relatively unfazed, their mental health intact, while others would be changed profoundly and forever. This year marked the 70th anniversary of Syd Barrett's birth, and he's still regarded by many as one of the most influential musicians in British pop history. He was appreciated as much for his iconoclastic approach to the electric guitar as for his adventurous and imaginative songwriting. Perhaps his creativity leaving him wide open to somewhat erratic behaviour, Syd would go on to be the crazy diamond that the later lineup of Pink Floyd so desperately wanted to shine on. Born Roger Keith Barrett in Cambridge, England, he was actively encouraged to pursue music and art by his parents. His father passed away when he was just 15 years old, and the loss affected him greatly. He'd known Roger Waters since primary school and met Dave Gilmour as a teenager, and of course their paths would cross many times. Barrett had been studying art in Cambridge but moved to Camberwell Art College, where he hooked up with Roger Waters again, and where the band began to form. By October 1966, with a brand new manager, Barrett and Pink Floyd played a magazine launch party that was covered by the press. The party was a psychedelic blast, with Marianne Faithfull dressed as a nun, Paul McCartney disguised as an Arab, and pop-up painted Cadillac. Pink Floyd played long instrumental interludes, which would become their signature, and added some light show elements. The Sunday Times sniffed at the time. A pop group called the Pink Floyd played throbbing music while a series of bizarre cultured shapes flashed on a huge screen behind them, apparently very psychedelic. The review helped to drive the band's popularity. In 1967, Dave Gilmour was invited to join the band, and it was very soon afterwards that Barrett started to unravel. He developed a serious fan base, and there are rumours that his followers were continuously lacing his tea with acid. Of course, he tripped many times of his own volition, but spiking was a heinous party crime at the time, and LSD was not a drug to be taken lightly. It's widely believed it was from this very period that he developed schizophrenia, though he was never officially diagnosed. By 1967, Pink Floyd were now full-time, recording and releasing their debut album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. By the middle of that year, Barrett was acting increasingly strangely, particularly on stage. Sometimes he would strum one single chord through the entire show, or detune his guitar on stage mid-show. By the time their tour with Jimi Hendrix came later that year, they had to bring a substitute guitarist with them for the times that he wouldn't be able to perform or was a total no-show. In 1968, on the 6th of April, Pink Floyd told the world that he was no longer part of the band. He did go on to release 2 solo albums, neither doing particularly well, and come 1972 he moved back in with his mother and spent the rest of his life as a painter, artist. It takes some of the most wildest and most passionate minds to have created and influenced and set the bar for some of the finest rock that we know today, and Syd Barrett was without doubt one of those people. As Dave and the boys sang out, "Remember when you were young, you shone like the sun. Shine on, you crazy diamond. Now there's a look in your eyes, like black holes in the sky. Shine on, you crazy diamond." This is Carrie Cooper for Guitar Centre's Focus on Rock. Shop for the greatest selection of music gear on earth, in store or at guitarcentre.com.